Hi, Fredrik from Immersive Sound Tech. In this episode of Meet an Enthusiast, I'm visiting Peter in his newly built home cinema. I've done the design and it's going to be a blast experiencing what he has accomplished. In the interview, we are discussing tips and advice for all you home cinema enthusiasts, so if you have the time, please consider watching the whole interview. And if you need help with your home cinema, drop a comment below or visit immersivesoundtech.com. But now, let's get over to Peter's place. Hi, Fredrik from Immersive Sound Tech. Today I'm sitting in a brand new home cinema designed by me and sitting here with Peter.
Hi, Fredan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming here.
We've been sitting this morning just watching movies and taking in the fantastic sound and picture of your newly built home cinema.
Yes.
And you used to have a cinema in this room previous to this cinema. Tell me about it and the journey to building this cinema.
To make a long story short, I started the first version of this cinema was built in 2005. Then I did some reconstruction, building up the more or less the same speakers, and this projector was the same as I have right now. But then in the end of last year, I finally decided, let the right guys do the right stuff for my home cinema.
Yeah.
So basically not inventing the wheel myself or reading a lot on forums and stuff like that. Instead, when coming to you, ask for your advice as a sound professor and other colleagues as well.
That's me, I'm the professor.
Exactly. To do it the right way, basically.
Yeah. So I visited your this room actually, and before you redid it, and where we're sitting, or where I'm sitting, there was like this storage space, and you had like a little bit of lounge area coming into the room, and then the home cinema were positioned this way, so everything was asymmetrical, and you weren't really using the room the proper way.
No.
But it was the way that the room were designed when you moved in, basically.
Yeah.
And it happens so often in people's setups. The setup is based on the room. It's a very natural thing to do. So I got this storage, and then I can have the home cinema down there. And it sounded good, and it looked good. You done your homework and really tried to get the most out of it. But what has the difference been for you now when you redone the room based on my design and almost have the same speaker setup, the same speakers, and making the room? Yeah. So what has the difference been for you?
I mean, my previous room was built on a lot of searches on internet and forums and stuff like that. Now I engage someone professional in sound engineering. So basically, the sound and video as well is not built on subjective. What I think this looks good. Yes, what does that matter? How long is a rope? Yeah. I mean, that is the same way of thinking. So engaging a professional sound engineer like you, and also someone also in this spectrum is also working with this the video part of it.
Yeah.
So engaging two professionals to get the best out of it. Yeah. Because in the end, both sound and video is about ones and zeros. There's nothing subjective, this is good. It's either it is actually according to the standard or it is not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, because there's so much subjectivity in our work, in my work, and on the internet. My work is objective mostly, but our ears and our eyes are very subjective in the way that we see things and hear things. And as you say, that tends to also color the comments you get or you find on internet forums when you ask for somebody's help. The difference is that you have me and Marcus from The Rock, the home cinema store here in Sweden, as advisors. Even the tiniest things, you just call me and ask, Fredrik, I'm thinking about this, what should I do there? And then I use my knowledge and most of all my experience designing home cinema rooms. I mean, that's the big difference. Same when you call Marcus on a technical aspect. I do the technical parts as well, so I've been helping you out with that as well. But just having an advisor to ask that's not emotionally involved in the work. Because if you ask, well, my opinion is that if you ask somebody on the internet or you ask internet about advice and you get people's answers, they will answer based on their situation. Do I need 4 subwoofers? No, you only need 2. I only have 2, and it sounds fantastic. And it does to them. But you might need 4 subwoofers, and you did. And you asked me and Marcus,
exactly.
do I need 4 subwoofers? And I said, yes, you need 4 subwoofers. And now you got 4 subwoofers, and how does it sound?
Very good. Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very important. But I think that the key factor to a successful implementation of sound and video in this small amount of area that we actually have here, and concrete all around you. I mean, the basement where the floor, roof, and the walls are all concrete. It's hard as stone, basically. And you all know how sound works in that kind of environment. So I mean, the key success factor here is to be humble enough to understand that I, as an amateur, very fond of movies and music and so on, but I'm not an expert. So the key success factor, please utilize the contact network you have and engage the right people. That is my 100% my advice to make something like this.
Yeah, it's good that you mention it, because obviously I feel the same. And as you say, you bring up the room acoustics here. We're in a cellar. Fantastic cellar. You brought down some walls, took down some walls, opened up the space, basically carte blanche, and even took out the part of the back wall to make room for the door. Do we really need to move the door, or can it be where we need to move the wall to make room for the door and to make room for the projector outside the room? Lots of extra work, and you asked me and Marcus, is it worth it? Picture-wise, it was needed. We weren't able to get this wide picture. It's 4 meters wide, 173.9 inch, so 174 inches wide screen, 235 by 1. So, and it's, how many centimeters do you have left on each side?
I think we need to count millimeters.
Millimeters or inches. I think we have about 2 inches on each side for our American and Canadian and viewers. And yeah, so it's squeezed in, and Marcus has done a great job. To me, he's the only guy in Sweden able to put in that big screen. And to some of you Americans, both me and Peter, we discussed previously that watching those really fancy American home cinemas that looks fantastic, and dark oak and everything, and pillars and stuff like that. And then the picture is tiny 16 by 9. Come on, guys.
This is the shit.
This is the shit. No, really. Yeah, and you have to plan for it, and you have to know that it will work. And in this room, I did a room acoustics design for Peter, and this is the toughest acoustical environment to do this kind of work in or design. Only a sphere, a ball, sitting inside a ball is tougher than doing a rectangular room in a cellar. Stone hard floor, ceiling, walls, and we even brought down part of the wall to make it work. And in here I put the front wall is a baffle wall for the speaker. It's also a very intricate bass trap that makes all this work. 4 subwoofers, 2 in the corners front, 2 in the back. What? You put subwoofers in the corners? You can't do that, you say. Some of you guys say. Well, visit Peter and have a listen to it.
Yeah.
How do you think it works?
I think it works. I even would say that to the American and Canadian viewers that it's worth the travel here. You're more than welcome here to listen into how it works.
Perfect. Yeah, we've been listening we've been watching some movies this morning, and we watched the intro to the Blade Runner movie, the new Blade Runner movie, and even to me, when the flying car goes around and lands at that guy's place, that poor guy's place. And I had this bass panorama going around. That was actually something new even for me. It sounded great. Should mention that this is a trinnov calibrated room. The subwoofers work individually, and it was just a blast, total blast. So what I did in this room, I wanted to total bass control as much as I can. There will never be total control, but as much as I can, and according to the real estate space available, and also within budget, and it doesn't break the bank. You just have to do it the right way. Yeah, and get the right subwoofers, right, depending on your taste. Sealed subwoofers, that's what I go for in a room like this. We don't need the sound pressure level of a commercial cinema. We need the tightness and the phase response of sealed subwoofers. And it feels like the low end is moving the pants. It isn't, of course, but it feels like that. And that's what counts. It's not what you hear that is the most important thing. It's what you think you hear. And it's a difference. It's psychoacoustics. So another challenging part in this room is the acoustically transparent cloth. No speakers are visible. You put them behind acoustic transparent cloth, or transparent as it gets. And how was that work?
It was tiring, actually, because it's 16 places you need to put this fabric on, and it took 1.5 hours per square to do that. But it's so worth it, because everyone that comes in the room thinks it's a very nice room, and they see the enormous big screen and say, hey, what a fantastic home cinema you have.
Yeah.
And then you turn on the speakers, and then I always tell them to sit down first so they don't fall apart. No, but I like this don't telling point right up in the face that, oh, this is an enormous amount of speakers and so forth. That the result speaks for itself, so to speak. So this is a very nice and cozy room on top of I think that is equally important as it sounds good and looks good from a video perspective.
Yeah.
And that is what these fabric walls accomplish that, I think.
Yeah. And on an acoustic design thing, the transparent cloth and sound transparent video screen is projector screen. It's challenging. For me as an acoustician, it will affect the sound. It will, and I have to take that into account. And I know by experience how to do it. But if you were to do this on your own and just buy the fabric by chance, or what's the cheapest, or you read on a forum, you would have put yourself into a lot of potential trouble.
Yeah.
but you engaged me and Marcus to help you out, and we knew that we tested this particular cloth that you are using and that we've used in other home cinema, and it works. But it's a minefield, and a lot of hours just making it look, but it looks great, and you've done a great thing with the lighting, and we have these light pillars on the walls. Or you asked me, can I put light pillars at the back? Yeah, but we need to take away some of the acoustic treatment for them. Yeah, will it affect? It will have an effect, but it will be worth it because it's a lighting thing.
Yes.
It's an aesthetical thing, and that's also something that I always have to take into account. What the client, what you as a customer, what you crave for, what you vision, and there will always be compromises done in every aspect. That's just how life is. Life is a compromise.
Always.
Always. And just knowing what compromises that are okay to do and what aren't.
Yes.
So fantastic. So Peter, you're done. The journey.
Yes, for now.
The journey
yes.
is the journey is done.
Yes.
For now.
Yeah, for now, exactly.
Because the journey is the goal.
Yes, exactly. That's a very well put way to put it. Actually, I even don't know how to comment that, but no,
It's fact.
It's fact. It's fact, and I think you were onto something really good. It's all about compromises. What compromises are you willing to take, and so forth. Yeah. But that I don't know. That's the reason I need experts around me when creating something like this to make me on a fact-oriented way. Have these facts here, and then take a good decision, pragmatic decision based on the facts.
Yeah.
And that you have supported me very greatly, and that I'm so thankful for.
Yeah, it's great that you say that, Peter. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's all about the rabbit holes.
Always.
There's a lot of them.
Yes.
And you have to go down some of them, and some of them you don't dive into right now. Maybe later.
Yeah.
But listening and looking at movie clips now, I mean, this is one of the absolute best home cinemas that I've visited and designed, but also visited for sure. The low-end response in this home cinema, it's the best that I've designed. Really, it really is. And in a cellar. And making it work. Yeah. And it's just so tremendously rewarding for me as well, because I'm just like you. I'm just chasing the best sound and the best picture. And then you have a budget to relate to, always a budget. But you, to me, you have listened to my advice and to Marcus's advice and squeezed the best parts out of the lemon and made a really nice lemon juice that you can sit and enjoy in your very nice sofa. So and so the takeaway message I would say is listen to the expertise. There's a lot of information on the internet. There's vast amount of information, but it's just information. To be able to pick out the knowledge, you have to engage proper people for it. You can always contact me in the comments or check out my homepage, immersivesoundtech.com, and I'd love to take a video call with you. You can show your room, and I can say what I can help you out with, and you can decide whether it's worth it or not. But Peter is a living example that it's really worth engaging with expertise, because I've done a lot of the mistakes myself. I've been to many rooms where people have made a lot of mistakes, and all those things are just I have it in my memory, and I try not to walk into those pitfalls again. And that's what you get when you engage with expertise, instead of asking people on the internet, because you will get opinions, for sure. Everybody has an opinion about everything. So if I allow myself to be a little bit philosophical, on the internet, everybody has the right to have an opinion, for sure. And everybody are equal. I'm not arguing with that. But everybody's opinion is not worth as much.
No.
The opinion, your personal opinion, you have to earn to make it stick. That's my personal opinion.
I can agree to that, and especially when it comes to home cinema, I can say that it took me close to 20 years to realize that. My first attempts were my own thinking and reading on forums when I realized, why should I do this when I have not the right knowledge or expertise to do this? Let's engage someone who has instead.
Yeah.
So totally with you.
Yeah. So wrapping up here in Peter's very fine home cinema that he has built himself with advice from me and from Marcus from The Rock. So Peter, was it worth all the work?
I have only one word to say to that. Yes.
Thank you. And thanks, guys, for watching this episode, this interview with Peter, my client. And if you liked this video and found it informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, hit that notification button. And thanks for watching Immersive Sound Tech, your Sunday in the sofa place.